Here at Ridden Clarinet Products, we have a policy, and that policy is we don't sell anything that we don't make. Fortunately, a policy is not an ironclad rule. So sometimes we countermand that policy and we actually sell something that we don't make. Our criteria for doing that is when we find something that is extraordinarily good, that we are fairly certain that most clarinet players are unaware of, but they should be aware of. And so in an attempt to make them aware of what a benefit a product is, we sell it. One of those things may be insignificant to many clarinet players, and one of those things is cork lubricant. Most cork lubricants I find to be really problematic in the fact that even if they're slick, they're way too thin, and they cause all kinds of problems in assembly. Sometimes they'll thin out and the joints will stick. But one of the worst problems with those very thin lubricants is that they actually soak into the cork and eventually deteriorate the cork, and therefore you end up having to replace the cork after a period of time. Or the cork sometimes will just get so wet from being soaked up by the thin lubricant that it will actually begin to just fall off the socket. Not a cool idea. And you know, compounded with this kind of frustration for me personally is the fact that I assemble several hundred clarinets a year, and that can be very frustrating and very difficult with bad cork lubricant. So I was really excited personally to find a wonderful cork lubricant a few years ago, and I've been using it on my clarinets. It's absolutely fantastic. We decided again to countermand our policy, so we decided to sell this cork lubricant, and I'd like to introduce it to you. It's called Ultimax. So you ask, what's so great about Ultimax? Well, Ultimax, first of all, is not thin. It has a very creamy texture. It's kind of be hard to describe exactly what the texture is, but it's very smooth, it's very creamy, and it stays on the outside of the cork. It clings to the surface of the cork, but it won't soak into the cork and deteriorate the cork. It's also very slick. It's an excellent lubricant, and it stays on the cork and stays there for a long, long time. So you don't need to apply a lot in order to be effective. And I've never had a clarinet jam or stick using Ultimax cork lubricant. So I had to conclude that this stuff does everything a great cork lube should do. It lubricates, it doesn't deteriorate the cork, and it lasts a long, long time. Plus it's food grade, and it's completely non-toxic. It's a synthetic. It's not a petroleum-based product. So I'm very, very impressed with this, and I'd like to encourage you guys, if you are still in search of a good cork lube, that this is the stuff you should actually get. And I'm going to take a brand new clarinet right now, and I'm going to lubricate the joints and show you exactly how good this stuff is with fresh corks that have never been lubricated before. I'm pulling this guy right out of the wrapper, and boy, these corks are as dry as your granddaddy's scalp. Let me tell you, a real problem. And I'm going to have to lubricate these anyway in order to test the clarinet and process it. So let's do that. You may consider a life not worth living that gets excited about cork lubricant, but I'm telling you, if you assemble as many clarinets as I do, you would be delighted to find a product this good. All right, I've got everything lubricated, including myself, so before I pick up the clarinet and start to actually put the joints together, I'm going to wipe my hands off. Should have picked one of these up before I sat down here to start this. All right, let's zoom in and watch the assembly. Here we go. And that's the bell. Goes right on. Super. Whoops. Forgot to lubricate this properly. Okay. It's completely smooth, in and out. First time. And then we have our barrel. You know, one of the things I like to do, by the way, in lubricating fresh clarinets freshly for the first time, is I like to also lubricate slightly inside the socket, because the clarinet will often the clarinet socket will often just push the lubrication down because it's so tight. So if you lubricate the socket as well as the surface, you get a little better results, whatever you use. And put that on. Wow. Perfectly smooth. That's the product, Ultimax Cork Lubricant. You can get it from our website. Just go right to riddenarclarinetproducts.com. It's economical, it lasts a long time, and I bet once you try it, you'll decide exactly what I have, and that is Ultimax is the best doggone cork lubricant you've ever used in your life.